Bismillah. This is Muhammad Nasruddin, and today's session is about adultery in Islam. Adultery, or zina, as in Arabic, refers to illegal or illicit sexual intercourse, which is a sin condemned in all religions, either Islam, Judaism, or Christianity. So let us see in this session how Islam has treated this issue in a rational, realistic manner that satisfies the natural sexual needs of humans without falling under sin or fornication penalty, as we will see later. Let's ask first why adultery happens, and then how Islam has blocked the way to it. When it comes to married people, we find that marriage laws based on church marriages in USA or Europe or elsewhere do not allow or makes it very difficult for divorce to happen between married people who are unhappy and tortured in their marriage. Due to their torture or their admiration to another person other than their marital partner, these unhappy married people can fall into betraying their partners, thus committing adultery, which is then an infidelity and a treason crime, which is incriminated by all civil laws and human rightists, even in USA or Europe or anywhere in the world. Treason and infidelity by married people is considered to be a crime and is condemned. Islam handles this issue rationally and realistically by eliminating the reason and justification for married people adultery and infidelity. This is by allowing divorce between unhappy married people so that they can get another chance for a better marriage and a better life. Now, when it comes to single unmarried people, we find that Islam had made it very simple for single men and women to have a marriage or some legal form of sexual relation conforming to Islamic law, which is simply based on a mutual word of mouth declaring personal marriage consent and acceptance between man and woman without any need for any religious rituals or attendance of any religious figure or any marriage license or any official procedures. This is because marriage in Islam is more or less a civil or common law marriage agreement. Either it is written or unwritten. And as in the case of any civil or common law agreement that can be cancelled or ended, also marriage in Islam can be ended by divorce if either man or woman wishes to end it. Moreover, Islam allows other very simple legal forms of man-woman sexual relations as pleasure and temporary marriage and self-devotion and self-commitment, which is wahabat nafsaha and malk al-yamin in Arabic, based on word-of-mouth commitment, thus making man-woman instinctive sexual relation very simply legalized in Islam and eliminating any reason or justification for adultery for those single unmarried people. So as we see, Islam has eliminated the reason and justification for adultery for married people by allowing the divorce, and for unmarried single people by facilitating the way of marriage or having some kind of a legal, respectful sexual relation. Now let us see about the adultery punishment in religions. In Judaism and Christianity, if adultery is proven, then adultery punishment is death death by stoning or strangulation, as clearly stated in the Bible. You can refer to the Bible verses and you can see that death by stoning or strangulation, or even sometimes by burning, is clearly stated in the Bible. Then, what about the penalty in Islam? Very clearly and very unequivocally, there is no death penalty in Islam. I repeat, there is no death penalty in Islam for adultery. Adultery penalty, as stated in Quran, is lashing. That is flogging of the man and woman equally, each 100 lashes. And these lashes should be carried without causing death or handicap to the penalized person. And carrying this penalty needs very strict and stringent conditions and evidence to be satisfied, as we will see later in that session. These very stringent conditions make implementing the penalty extremely difficult and more or less non-applicable for single and married men and women that cannot be practically condemned due to the very simple legal man-woman marriage and relation forms devised in Islam. Thus, this makes adultery penalty technically targeted to those infidel married people who do not want to get a divorce and enjoy betraying and cheating on their partners, whereby in that case they are technically punished for their treason and infidelity. Now, let us look at the needed evidence to prove the Adultery Act in Islam. In Surah 24, verse 2, it states, وَالَّذِينَ يَرْمُونَ الْمُحَصَّنَاتِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَأْتُوا بِأَرْبَعَةٍ شُهَدَاءَ فَاجْلِدُوهُمْ 80 جلدة وَلَا تَقْبَلُوا لَهُمْ شَهَادَةً. The translation is, and those who accuse chaste women and produce not 4 witnesses, flog them with 80 stripes and reject their testimony. So, let us see in this verse that Quran has first warned against slandering or accusing women of adultery. And the slanderer punishment is 80 lashes for those who slander or accuse chaste women, and do not bring in 4 eyewitnesses to back up this accusation. And each man of the witnesses should testify that he actually saw the male sexual organ inserted into the female's vagina, and that he tried to pass through a thread between the man and the woman, and it did not pass due to this insertion. So this is a very strict condition that practically can never be satisfied. Now, what about the case if a husband accuses his wife of adultery and he says that he has witnessed her performing the adultery? In Quran, Surah 24, verse 9, it states, وَالَّذِينَ يَرْمُونَ أَزْوَاجَهُمْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُمْ شُهَدَاء إِلَّا أَنفُسُهُمْ فشهادة أحدهم 4 شهادات بالله إنه لمن الصادقين والخامسة أن لعنة الله عليه إن كان من الكاذبين وأدرأ عنها العذاب أن تشهد 4 شهادات بالله إنه لمن الكاذبين والخامسة أن غضب الله عليها إن كان من الصادقين. The translation is, and for those who accuse their wives but have no witnesses except themselves, let the testimony of one of them be 4 testimonies, that is to testify 4 times by Allah that he is one of those who speak the truth. And the 5th testimony should be the invoking of the curse of Allah on him, if he be of those who tell a lie against against her. But it shall avert the punishment from her, if she bears witness 4 times by Allah that he, who is her husband, is telling a lie. And the 5th testimony should be that the wrath of Allah be upon her if he, her husband, speaks the truth. So in this verse we can see that Quran has made the final decisive word for proving adultery and implementing the adultery penalty is the confession of the woman herself. Now let us see the adultery penalty verse in the Quran. This is in Surah 2, verse 24. الزانية والزاني فاجلدوا كل واحد منهما 100 جلدة. الزانية والزاني فاجلدوا كل واحد منهما 100 جلدة. The translation is, the woman and the man guilty of illegal sexual intercourse, flog each of them with 100 stripes. Now we see that penalty is clearly 100 lashes and not at all death penalty. And as explained by Muslim scholars, these lashes or stripes should be carried in a way that does not lead to death or handicapping. So someone may ask, then why do some Muslims claim that adultery penalty for married people is death? The answer is that these Muslims claiming that adultery penalty is death are actually very, very few Muslims and have an extreme opinion, which is not dependent on Quran, that clearly states only lashing penalty for adultery if adultery was ever proven. But these death penalty opinions are based on some story which claims that Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam has ordered to stone a married person for adultery. Actually, this story is very much doubtful and non-believable and refuted and refused by the majority of Muslim intellectual scholars and Muslim scholars because of the following reason. First, there are several other stories about Prophet that let the people committing adultery ask God for expiation and let go without inflicting any penalty on them. Second, adultery death penalty contradicts with what Quran states as to be lashing as adultery penalty, and Prophet Muhammad would have never disobeyed God's instructions in Quran. Third, Quran has highly valued the human life and equated the unlawful killing of one human as killing of the entire mankind. So, if there was ever a death penalty for any crime, then definitely Quran would have mentioned it, as it mentioned the death penalty for the willful, intentional murder. Now, let us recap what has preceded. First, there is no death penalty for adultery in Islam. An adultery penalty, as stated in Quran, is very difficult to be proven. And if ever proven, then the penalty is only 100 lashes. And this punishment is not at all likely to be inflicted on single and married, women or men, due to the very simple marriage and legal relation forms devised in Islam. Also, Islam has eliminated the adultery reason for married people by allowing divorce. Thus, this penalty is practically only applicable to those infidel married people. Those infidel married people who do not want to get a divorce and enjoy betraying and cheating on their marital partners. And this by itself is a crime by all civil laws and all human rights in all the world, either in USA or Europe or any other place. At the end of my session, I thank you for the good listening, and I greet you as in Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. This was Muhammad Nasruddin presenting this session to you. Alaikum assalam.